start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, call roll, please.
Vidae,
Here.
Rozak,
Here.
Crouch, Scarberry,
Here.
Mayor Lansinger.
Here. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Mayor, I have no changes to the order of the agenda, but I have a comment about the order of the agenda, if you don't mind. We have several annexations on this evening's agenda, only one of which is in Eagle Township near Spring Lake Road. There was supposed to be a second one in Eagle Township, and that was the annexation of the city-owned Spring Lake Park. And we noticed that up to the taxing bodies that are affected in accordance with the statute. It's been removed from the agenda because we have some title issues regarding the Commonwealth Edison easement that goes across that property that we need to resolve. So that's continued to the June City Council meeting. And I just wanted to mention that in the public meeting because we had given notice to public bodies and it's not on the agenda.
Before we move into the public comment, if anyone is here tonight that has a statement or a comment that they'd like to make in regards to one of the agenda items where we'll be going into a public hearing, I'd ask that you make those comments at that particular time rather than at the beginning of this meeting, and leave this section to if there's any general comments that anybody would like to make. So with that, I'd ask anybody who would like to address the council with any issue or anything they'd like to state, step to the podium, state your name and what it is that you'd like to state.
Good evening, George Travis. I was here last month. I'm sure you remember. I just wanted to see what the update was on the traffic problem down on South Shannon on Mundy Street.
Okay, if I can just interrupt you just for a minute, I'm going to have the Chief Pastor respond to what we're found out and what we're going to be doing.
Mr. Travis, you said? Public Works Director Larry Hake and I were down there. As a matter of fact, we knocked on your door and didn't receive a response, but we've reviewed the situation down there. We've talked with another neighbor, and it appears that maybe something's changed on the west side of Chavanaugh Street now, where instead of parallel parking, might be pulling straight into the curbing. So I think something we could potentially do down there would be to mark that as parallel parking on that side, and maybe paint some yellow lines closer to the intersections for no parking. There's also a stop sign on the east side of Chavanaugh that looks like it's the old one when the rectory used to be there, yes, which would be needed to be moved closer to the intersection. So, I mean, that's where we're at right now with it.
Okay.
We did have it monitored the next Sunday after we were down at your house, and both times it was monitored, they said there were no traffic congestions or issues that the officer had seen at that time.
The officer, the police officer?
Yes.
I've had him down there 4 times since last month.
Okay, I'm just telling you.
Passing out tickets.
But Chief, what you're saying is that regardless of that, we're going to paint the street.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to have to.
I just don't want anybody to get hurt. I seriously don't. I don't. There's a sign down by the tracks that says no parking this side on the south side of Lundy Street. People are parking there now. So people have to go in the opposite lane of traffic to get around those cars. I've called the cops on those people. The sign's right there, it says no parking this side. So how far does that mean? How far down? It says no parking this side. How far down does that mean?
And where is that at, that sign?
Right past the tracks there, heading east on Lundy Street.
I mean, we'd have to go down and review it, look at it, and see exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
Right.
But if we do, when we are, we're going to maybe repaint and maybe move some signage and everything else, and it will be monitored.
I mean, every mass, there's illegal cars parked down my street. Either to close people's driveways, in front of people's driveways, or they're parked in front of the fire hydrant, like I called it Sunday. Again, parked in front of the fire hydrant. And the cops are like, why don't you people learn? You can't park here. I'll just keep calling, I guess. And they just start writing more tickets.
No, we did talk, he's right, we did talk with one neighbor that lived on the west side of the street, and according to her, and this is just her opinion, she has no issues whatsoever, so.
Who did you talk to?
Lady in a blue house, I can't recall her name right now.
Okay. They're new to the neighborhood.
Yes.
Yeah, they just moved in. So.
About a year.
Okay. I appreciate your efforts. Thank you. I appreciate it. Like I said, it's a safety thing. It's not about the church. It's about the traffic. Right. You know, and you asked me last time, sir, if it was just a Sunday problem. It's Saturday, Sunday, and I guess they have mass every morning now. And because of where they park in front of the church, so close to the street, my neighbor said she's almost in a car accident last week, inching out because you can't see. You can't see because it's parked there.
And we'll have to work with Monsignor as
Yeah,
well.
it's a 7-day-a-week problem now. It is. It's, like I said, it's not about the church, it's about safety for the people who live down here. We have to live down there 7 days a week.
And we agree. We wanted to do the investigation, but we're going to be painting the street and then enforcing. I mean, all of the parking lane or boxes have faded out, and the curb and the center line, that was all going to be reestablished.
I've been down there during the day, and there's a pickup that parks towards the end on the west side there. I mean, if it was a different type of vehicle other than the pickup, then you'd be able to see easy. But it being a pickup or and a large one, then it makes it hard. People can't see as well.
Yeah, it's difficult to see either way, east and west, I mean, because of the way I park these people. So, all right, I appreciate it, thank you.
So there are some issues that we can address.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Anyone else? If not, then we'll move to new business and item 1.
Mayor and Council, items 1, 2, and 3 are all really the same item on the agenda. The first is a public hearing on a proposed annexation agreement with Jesus Mendoza and CMJ's tree service, and the second is the approval of the annexation agreement itself. And item 3 is an ordinance actually annexing the property that's the same subject as above. So you can take them 1, 2, 3. This tract of land is in Eagle Township and is contiguous to property we recently acquired from the Good Corporation on the on the west side of the Vermilion River. Annexing this property extends the city all the way over to Spring Lake Road, just north of and adjoining the city-owned property at Spring Lake Park. The details of the agreement basically are that we are annexing the property. He gives an easement to the water company so that they can run at a future time a water line up the west side of his property. We're going to run a water line only as far as the front gate of Spring Lake Park, and then we're going to exchange property with Mr. Mendoza necessary to take the old rail line to use as a future trail route, and then sell him back land that's surplus from the Good Corporation. So all those details are spelled out in the annexation agreement. Thank you. So my suggestion is we start by having a public hearing.
Okay. And entertain a motion to open a public hearing.
No move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Clerk, call roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Rozak.
Aye.
Scarberry.
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Anyone like to make comments to this issue? Okay, hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So move, Your Honor.
Second.
Second.
Clerk, call roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Rozak.
Aye.
Scarberry.
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. And then moving to number 2. I'd request a motion to approve and authorize the annexation agreement between Jesus Mendoza and the city of Streator.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
The water line, Scott, will be coming from the south. Am I correct, or?
Yeah, it'll run roughly southeast to northwest, and the existing water, the nearest existing water main is at the corner of Spring Lake Road and Ridgewood, and then it goes to the south. And so all we have is a seasonal service line right now, and so this will put in a water main only as far as our gate.
Are we talking under the river?
Yes, under the creek.
Do you have any idea what the cost of that is?
Yes, we do. Yeah, the estimate is in the agreement. The estimated cost of the water line project is $20,000 something.
I remember doing it, but I don't recall. I didn't have it in front of me, I'm sorry.
Most of which will be recouped from the transfer of the real estate from when we sell it to
When we sell it
CMJ.
back.
Yeah. That way we'll have, and that way we'll have regular fire flows at Spring Lake when it's in the city.
You okay, Joe?
Mhm.
Clerk, call the roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 3, I'd entertain a motion to approve and authorize the annexation of Jesus Mendoza's property.
So moved, Your Honor.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 4,
Mayor and Council, items 4 through 11 all relate to annexation of property over on the east side of the city adjoining Highway 18. And because annexation into the city is a prerequisite for property being included in a tax increment financing district. Items 4 through 8 pertain to the same two pieces of property that are owned by different members of the Sweden family who have agreed to bring their property into the city. There are separate annexation agreements, although they can be covered under the same public hearing. The agreements themselves are separate because the parcels are separate. The terms of the agreement are fairly simple. They are that the annexation is predicated on us creating a TIF and including their property in it, and that the city's existing policy where you rebate the city's taxes so long as the property remains agricultural applies to their property. Once it's developed for something else, then that no longer applies. So it's a fairly simple agreement.
okay, thank you. I'd entertain a motion to open a public hearing.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Anyone like to make comment to this particular issue? Hearing none, then I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Correct my defect.
Yeah, we're just going to do a technical correction, Mr. Mayor. We had a motion and a second to call the public hearing, but we didn't actually call the vote.
Okay, we didn't call the vote.
So
All
we're
right,
gonna-
let's call the vote on that one, to open the public hearing.
Yes.
Okay.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Crouch, no, who's second? Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. And that's it.
So now a motion to close the
Minutes
public hearing.
reflect that we had no public comments.
Correct.
So now I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 5.
So this is the agreement on the property that says Larry and Marlene Sampson, that they're related to the Sweden group as well. This is the tract of land on the south side of land owned by Central Church of Christ, and then from the south end of their property to the quarter section line to the south. And there's a map in the packet material that delineates this further. So this is the agreement that pertains to that tract.
Okay, thank you. I'd entertain a motion to approve and authorize the annexation of the agreement between Larry and Marlene Sampson and the city of Streator.
So moved, Your Honor.
For second.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 6.
Is the ordinance annexing the land that pertains to the agreement you just acted on.
Okay. Entertain a motion to approve and authorize the annexation of the Sampson property to the city of Streator.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any other discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 7.
So item 7 is also the Sweden's property. This one's on the north side of Highway 18 and is a tract of land north of a tract they already own, which is already in the city, and immediately south of the old airport runway. So the same agreement terms applying to that tract of land.
Thank you. Entertain a motion to approve and authorize the annexation agreement between Travis and Jennifer Sweden and the city of Streator.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 8,
Ordinance on same item.
I'd entertain a motion to approve and authorize the annexation of a Sweden property to the city of Streator.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any other discussion? Clerk, call roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 9,
Item 9 is a tract of land owned by the Catholic Diocese of Peoria and is the 40-acre quarter section that's at the southwest corner of Highway 18 and East 19th, or Airport Road. They have agreed to annex it into the city so that it too can be a part of the tax increment financing district, and so that they can hopefully see value and potential resale of the property because of the added value that a TIF would bring to it.
thank you. I'd entertain a motion to approve and authorize the annexation of the Catholic Diocese of Peoria property to the city of Streator.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? Clerk, call roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. 10,
Item 10 is also owned by the Catholic Church and is also in the same proposed TIF area and is commonly known as St. Stephen's Cemetery.
I'd entertain a motion to approve and authorize the annexation of St. Stephen's Cemetery to the city of Streator.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Clerk, call roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 11,
Item 11 is the tract that started all this in the first place to create the TIF. And by way of additional introduction, you've already had a public hearing and you've already approved the annexation agreement for this parcel. But in order to provide the time to notice up, I think, a fire protection district, that had to be held over for, so this is the final step in annexation, and we just have the ordinance now. This is the 37 acres where the Villas of Hollybrook will build their Alzheimer's and dementia assisted living care unit. It is on the north side of 18, immediately to the east of the First Church of the Nazarene.
entertain a motion to approve and authorize the annexation of the Myers Trust and Cameron Revocable Trust property on East Route 18.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? Clerk, call roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 12,
Item 12 is the last annexation for tonight, and it's on West 2nd Street. This is property owned by the Hedricks, and several years ago, 2010 or 11, they executed a pre-annexation agreement with the city so that whenever it became contiguous, it could be annexed into the city. That contiguity was achieved when you purchased and annexed the good property across the river.
entertain a motion to authorize the annexation of the Hedrick property to the city of Streator.
So moved.
For a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? Clerk, call roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 13,
Chair.
Thank you. Item 13, the city has been notified that we will be receiving this is round 3 of the Illinois Housing Development Authority's Abandoned Properties Program. The city's been successful in the first 2 and successful again in the 3rd round. This is to accept a grant of $40,000 to recoup money spent last year for demolitions.
and the ones that are listed are the ones that have been.
This is money to basically to recoup money we spent last year.
Okay.
And this is the 3rd time we've got one of these grants.
Correct.
Entertain a motion to approve and authorize a grant agreement with the State of Illinois Housing Authority abandoned properties.
So moved.
For a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, call roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 14,
So Larry prepared this permit request that we have to process with the Department of Transportation. There'll be several street closures associated with the Wall Dogs project, but this is the only one that's on a state highway. The 100 block of South Bloomington on the west side of Dick's Floor covering. So there's going to be closures on Hickory, several places on Hickory Street and some other places, but since those are local streets, this is the only one that requires a permit. Anything else?
Entertain a motion to approve and authorize the temporary closure of South Millington Street.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any other discussion?
I would say it's just for the media, it's just one lane
And parking lane.
and the parking lane, but there will be a 3-lane open.
Clerk, call roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 15,
Kirk?
This is going to deal with the school resource officer agreement. Mr. Wright had approached me earlier this year where the Streator High School had asked him or informed him that they wanted to pursue the school resource officer 100% of the time at their school. They had the funding to do that. So with that being said, in order for us to do that, it was shared with Northland and currently as it is today, we would have to create a second position. In order for us to do that, we would have to have something other than just District 44 schools, being Northland and the elementary schools. So Mr. Wright had posed the question to me to see if I could illustrate a meeting with Woodland School District and see if there was any interest. Those meetings took place along with personnel from Streator District 44 and the high school. And this was approved at the District 44 board meeting yesterday, and it is supposed to be approved tonight at the Woodland School District meeting. So this is the creation of a second school resource officer position. One will be full-time at the high school. The other second position will be shared 50% of the time with District 44 schools and Woodland School. In order for that to happen at Woodland, being that that's outside of our jurisdictional boundaries right now, we've met and talked with Sheriff Tony Chilvers, Livingston County Sheriff, and he has agreed to swear our officer in, giving him authority to work out there.
If I could say this is, from Kurt's presentation, it sounds like we had to sell him on it. We did not. This is something that Woodland School had been thinking about anyway, and felt a need to do. In fact, they would have liked to have had more than half-time.
They wanted
quite
full-time.
frankly. But we wanted to honor the time that District 44 had. It just doesn't work to have a part-timer because it doesn't mesh with the 12-hour shifts that our police officers had. So this was the way for them to do it, and I think it's a better way for Woodland too to enter the program and see how it works.
You know, if anybody had any questions regard to how important this type of position is, just what happened today in Dixon, I think is a pretty good example of, you know, hopefully you never have to use it in that capacity. I entertain a motion to approve and authorize an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Streator and Streator's Elementary District 44 and Woodland Community District 5 for a school resource officer.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion?
District 44 approved this last night at their meeting, and it is on the Woodland board tonight. So, and this will necessitate a revision to the agreement we have with District 40, which is on their agenda in June, so it'll be on your agenda the day after on the June meeting, but I don't anticipate any problem. We've already negotiated all the terms with the high school.
Clerk, call the roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 16,
Mayor and Council, this is the policy statement regarding purchasing and procurement that you discussed at the study session earlier this month, and we've made the changes that you've directed, and it's ready for final approval.
I entertain a motion to place on file the approval and authorization of the purchasing and procurement city policy statement.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any other discussion? Clerk, call roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 17,
Chief Byrd.
Mayor and council, what we're asking for tonight is actually the second step of our Phase 3 project. The first step was the construction of the burn building, which is under contract at this time. The second step is to purchase the fence, landscaping, sign, and furniture for the classroom. So I have pictures of the landscaping in your packet. That should be noted, that's an artist rendering of those of the landscaping, so it won't be exactly like that. And also a note on the side, it says Streator Fire Department in your packet. It'll say Streator Public Safety Facility, Training Facility on the sign. So we're asking for the approval of these projects of the fence, sign, landscaping, and furniture for the complex at this time.
thank you. Joe, would you like to make the motion to place on file the approval and authorization of the Public Safety Training Center finishing elements?
So,
Second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Clerk, call roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye.
Mayor, before you go to the consent agenda, I need to ask your indulgence to return to the school resource officer intergovernmental agreement for just a second. Patty gave you this one-page document, which is an addendum to the agenda material. I don't, did the copy that they acted on get this incorporated into it?
They have that in there, yes.
They have it in the packet, but is that the one that they acted on?
Yes.
Okay.
I got it.
Okay, so it's in the final one that they acted on, we don't get that.
That is for section 11.1.
Yeah.
This was a request of the attorney for District 44.
It's basically, it's legal mumbo jumbo that says they will follow the state and federal laws on student records. Like you have to say that you're going to follow state and federal law. Sorry, Cheryl. So I just wanted to make sure that it's in the final version. What?
Right, the whole thing.
This one wasn't incorporated in the agreement. So I just wanted to make sure that the version that you adopted includes this amendment.
I mean, this was in the
Because
packet.
it was requested by, okay.
This was a last hour addition. It was not in the original agreement, but it was amended, and they do have the original agreement now with this included.
I put it in Joe's.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda with Councilman Scarberry abstaining, section B.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
And I just want to note that Scarberry abstains from section B. Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Comments from the councilman? Clerk?
Kicking off this weekend, we have some more of our sesquicentennial events. So Saturday, the slow roll bicycle tour of historic homes starts at 10 a.m. And then at noon, the food truck festival goes. There's 8 trucks, vendors, and music. The 20th, so Sunday, there's the 4th of July's Chicken and Spaghetti Dinner fundraiser, which will do the 4th and help raise funds for that event. And then if you haven't gone to see it, Eagle Lane has Crybaby on until Saturday as well, so a lot of things to do.
Yes. Yeah, this is just the beginning of all the 150th anniversary events going on. There'll be many, many, and you'll be hearing us talking about them all the time. But next weekend is Park Fest, one of the activities, which will be going on all weekend. And also, next Monday, a special event, a lady from New Zealand will be here who does gold leaf art. She's one of the wall dogs. She couldn't be here on the normal time when everybody else is going to be here at the end of June, so she's in the United States right now, so she's coming to Streator next week to give demonstrations and to do a project for the city and for the wall dogs. And she'll be at Kay's Garden, downtown Streator. You can go watch her work and see what she's doing, talk to her. Very interesting lady.
A comment with that one, the artwork sponsored by a local business, the Countryside Animal Clinic, and they are donating the piece of artwork she creates to the city of Streator, so hopefully we find a place for it somewhere.
A couple things, and I'm not trying to stir the pot or anything like that, but I have gotten a lot of phone calls, and I would just soon put this past us as a city and everybody, but with these river rescue boats, does the city now officially own them?
They're going to be titled to the city.
They're going to be titled. I've read articles and people are calling me and they say, the city council, I've never heard, I don't know if I missed a meeting or if they phrased it wrong.
I would say that if anybody has any questions with that, they should direct those to the Rodriguez family, primarily Jess, for an answer.
Okay. And I would like to also put in the minutes to thank the Rodriguez family. $100,000 was something. The only other thing, if you've all been watching the media the last couple of days, or been on the internet, or I think it's too late to make a proclamation, but can we do it? Because I'm a Yanni person.
There's one person in the room apparently that understands what you're talking about, that comes from Scarberry. Don't waste your
It's
time
going
saying
national.
that.
Yeah, it's going to be
800 million hits already, I think.
I'll tell you after the meeting.
Okay.
I'm on Yanni.
I agree.
Anything else?
No.
Entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Clerk, call the roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bochamp,
Aye.
Two voice function.
Scarberry,
All right.
Been a long piece of
Mayor Leinster.
Aye.
Thank you.
Stand adjourned.